There's a museum in Key West, Florida, that served as a fort in the Civil War. Entering the museum, you're greeted by odds and ends and curiosities that reflect the history of Key West. Passing along the exhibits, you come to a glass case. Inside, a simple wooden doll, no more than 3 feet tall, dressed in a sailor outfit, holding a teddy bear. The seemingly innocent-looking doll is named Robert, and his story would inspire the Child's Play movie franchise, frighten both museum guests and staff, and cause many to say Robert is possessed by an evil entity. The story of Robert the doll dates back to the year 1900, when he was manufactured by the Steiff Company. Founded and personally overseen by Marguerite Steiff, Robert was intended to be a window display. Robert was unique, a half-wooden, half-wire plush doll made in a factory famous for its teddy bears. Somehow, Robert was made available for sale, though he was never intended to be sold as a doll. He made his way into the possession of Robert Eugene Otto. Robert was given as a gift to young Gene Otto from his grandfather, who purchased the doll from the factory. Not long after Robert came into the possession of the Otto family, young Gene, who named the doll Robert after himself, became inseparable. Gene's mother began to hear him whispering to the doll and laughing quietly with his ear next to Robert's mouth, as if listening to him speak. The Otto's maid, while the family was out of the house, would hear tiny footsteps and giggles from upstairs. When she went to investigate, there would be Robert, all alone, sitting in his chair. As the strange occurrences continued, one night, Gene's parents were suddenly awakened in the middle of the night by a loud crashing sound and Gene crying. When they entered the boy's room, they were shocked to find Gene in his bed, but all of his furniture overturned, and his dolls and other teddy bears torn to shreds. Gene cried out, Robert did it. As time passed, the Ottos would feel eyes on them and continue to hear giggles and patter of little feet running throughout the house. When the neighbors began asking the Ottos who the little boy was in the sailor outfit that looks out the windows, Gene's father had had enough. He forbid Gene from playing with the doll and locked Robert in the attic. Things became calmer as Robert was locked away, and the occurrences ended. Years went by, and when Gene's parents passed away, he inherited their home. Gene married Annette, and they lived together in the family home. Gene was an artist, and on one occasion, when he was looking through the attic, discovered his long-lost friend, Robert. Robert was packed away, hidden by his father all those years ago. Gene introduced Annette to Robert, but Annette immediately despised the doll and asked Gene to put him back in the attic. He did not. In fact, Gene would carry Robert everywhere he went. They would sit together as Gene painted. Annette would hear Gene speaking to Robert and respond, as if answering the doll. Robert was given a chair to sit in so he could look out the window. He was placed in the turret room of the house, and when Annette asked why he placed the doll there, Gene answered, because Robert wanted to look out over the street. Annette did lock Robert in the attic several times, and each time she did, she would find him later, sitting in his chair by the window. Gene denied that he ever let Robert out. Gene would pass away in 1974. Annette would pass away a few years later, and some would claim that she slowly went insane and mentioned Robert on several occasions. The new owners of the Otto House donated Robert to the East Martello Museum, where he remains today. People from all corners visit the museum to get a glimpse of the haunted doll. It is said that cameras will not work when taking pictures of Robert, but once outside, the picture suddenly appears. Museum staff have voiced their concern over Robert. They report hearing giggling at night and become uneasy around the doll. Several staff members say they've seen the doll out of the corner of their eye, smirk at them, and turn his head, only to turn around suddenly and see Robert sitting still, back in his original position. Behind the exhibit, letters written to the doll come from people who claim they have visited him, and now their lives are filled with bad luck and misfortune. Looking into the eyes of a doll that stare off into space, or turning off the light and closing the door and wondering, will it move when I leave, is unsettling by itself. But a haunted doll that still causes fear in those who visit after 122 years is something else entirely.